Okay, I am going to share how I made my bow for my red and black buffalo check candy cane, and so that my videos are not so long, I am just going to share how I created the terry bow for that video, because I'm not going to edit a whole lot of stuff out. So this is how I learned, by watching other people, so I hope that this is helpful. Okay, this is called the Pro Bow of the Hand, and it is just a little gadget, a little board that helps you. These are called fingers. These are little dowels, just wooden dowels. These are called fingers, and it just helps hold your ribbons so that you can twist them. So if you have some hand problems, this is good. I'm not here to, try to sell this. I just like this. I feel I'm at a point now where I can share share with others how to make this bow, but it took me a little bit. I'm not going to lie. So what these letters are here on the bow, on this board, is that the farther you put them out, the larger your loops are. So if you want a big bow, then you want to put it on the this would be like a huge bow. The bow that I made, the size that I made for my candy cane wreath, or my candy cane, or actual candy cane door hanger, is on row B. So it took me a little bit. I usually either use B or C. I've also used A. That was on my Santa hat that I created a couple of weeks ago. So the bow that I did for that was on row A. So like I said, these are fingers, and this helps hold the ribbon. So then what you're going to need also is two ribbons. This is 2 wires. This is 26 gauge wire. You can just get this in the floral section. And then I like to have two different colors of wire, because it helps me personally differentiate which wire I'm working with, because I will be honest with you, I was getting them mixed up. And so this helps alleviate that. And that'll make more sense once I get to making the bow. So since this is on this right here, I need to unwrap it, and I just measure the length of my board. So just going to bend that in the center and set that to the side for a second. Okay, so the terry bow has 6 ribbons, and my camera will only expand so far. But I have 6 ribbons here. These are ribbon holders. It's a personal preference. I gotta have all the gadgets, and so you can figure out different things that'll hold your ribbon. But I have 3 1.5 inch ribbons, and I have 3 2.5 inch ribbons. A terry bow is just 6 ribbons with 2 loops each and 2 tails for each ribbon. That's what a terry bow is. So it doesn't matter what size width of your ribbon. It just matters the 6 ribbons. You can use more, you can use less. That's just what the creator of the terry bow uses. And so that's what I'm going to do. Now, for my terry bow, I like to have a center loop. And so if you don't want to have a center loop, then don't use this one right here, because the 2 loops will go on this one. I like to have the center loop, so I'm going to use this one. So the first thing, I'm going to dovetail this end, measure it out to, this is going to be my tail. So I'm just going to measure that out and gather it in the center. I'm going to take my green wire, and I just twist that like that. And then I'm making my center loop. I'm making my center loop, and I have my 2 wires, and I put my thumb right here up against this middle. That is what helps with the loop. and then I twist this wire. I give it two to three turns. That's sufficient. This tail I'm going to put around this finger or that dowel. I'm going to measure this tail out. I'm going to cut this off. Put that right there. The key is that I am going to build this way. I am working my bow sideways. This is the top of my bow, which is facing this board. This is the bottom of my bow. Honestly, it took me a little bit to grasp that concept. So that's why I'm saying it like that, because I'm used to doing the bow from the top. Well, I'm making the bow from the side, and it makes much more sense. So I have my two wires right here. So just to help myself, I put a little eye hook, and I just thread that through there, then twist that around. The board also comes with a little nail, and then I'm going to twist this right here because this is going to help us once we finish our bow. I'm going to put that wire under there, out of my way. So then my second wire, I'm going to thread that through the center loop, going underneath, and that is what helps us twist on our other ribbons. Okay. Just a tip, if you put something here to help hold your wire, make sure that this second wire is not going to get caught on that. So I just twist, I make sure that it is behind there, and I twist that because now I'm going to build my other ribbons on there. Now I take another 1.5 inch ribbon, this white polka dot. I'm going to measure out my tail. I measure it out to B. I'm going to gather it. And then I put my thumb right on top of this, or butted up underneath this center loop. And then I have my silver wire that I twist. I give that a good twist. Then I take that tail and move that around here, kind of out of the way. So then now I have this loop I'm going to put around this finger. I skipped this one only because I'm not going to need it. But if the more ribbons you use, you may use all of these fingers. I'm not going to. So then I bring my ribbon around. I push it up against there. I twist it. And this is called bottoms up. That's what the creators of this refer to. Twist that or loop that around that finger. And then I take my silver wire and I give it another twist. I am building my bow this way. This way. Twist that. Measure out my tail. Put that around there, out of the way. And I want my ribbon, my loops, and my ribbon tails to be like loop, tail, okay? All right. So then next I'm going to use this, oh no, this one right here, this 2.5 inch. I like to alternate those. Oops, cut it the wrong way. So then I measure it out to B, gather it in the center. I'm going to butt it up right underneath there. Remember, this is the front of our bow, or this is the top of our bow. This is the bottom of our bow. So I want it to go right underneath that polka dot. I'm going to give that a twist. Loop that around that dowel or finger. Gather it like this. We're going to twist it. That's called bottoms up. Give this wire a twist. And then what helps me is I make sure that this is underneath, or that it's going this way, not cockeyed, because that's where I was messing up when I first started, because it would be kind of wonky. I'm not worried about if these are bended, because I can fluff those later. So I twist that again, twist my wire, measure out my bow. I have 2 loops and 2 tails. Sorry, measure out my tail. I said my bow. Measure out my tail. I have 2 loops and 2 tails for each ribbon. And I'm twisting each time. Okay, so then now I have this 1.5 inch. It just depends on what ribbons you have, what look you're going for. Since the black and red buffalo check is the main ribbon, that's what I like to use for my 3rd ribbon. So I measure out my tail, gather it in the center, put it right underneath there, butt it up, twist that, twist that loop, go around that finger, twist this again, kind of put my thumb there where it's kind of right underneath there. Twist this wire, do this loop, I kind of pull it tight, but not too tight, where that it kind of off centers what I'm working for here. I want to try to keep this in line, boom, 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 as much as I can. So then I twist that, can put my thumb there to do the twist and call the bottoms up. Tighten that. I should have done this from the beginning, but I have this shelf liner that I put underneath it. So, whoops, that's not big enough. Here's my bigger one. There, my shelf liner helps my Pro Bow not to move because my craft mat is slick. Okay. There we go. All right. So then now I want to take this ribbon. This ribbon has letters on it. It's the saying says Merry Christmas. So I'm going to measure that out. And since this says Merry Christmas, I'm going to go the tail out to sea because I want to capture this right here. So I put it right underneath there. Twist my wire. Do this loop right here. Gather it. Put my thumb underneath there. twist it bottoms up. Okay, just like that. Pull that tight. Forgot to twist. The good thing is if you get off center, you can always unravel it and start over. Okay, so I'm going to gather that in the center. Didn't gather it very well. Just like that. See how my wire, that's why I have two. This, I'm glad this happened because this is why I show you. This is why I have two wires. So when I moved my little board to put my, the shelf liner here, my green wire came from underneath there and I didn't catch that. So this is why I have two wires, because I am working with this one and I don't want to get mixed up, because I will get mixed up. Okay, so I'm going to measure this out just like that. Okay, then our last one, this chalkboard ribbon. I got this at Sam's this year and love it. Okay, measure that out to see, because this is going to be my bottom, and I like those tails to be just a bit longer. They're probably about an inch longer. So I'm going to twist that, do my loop around there, gather it. Bottoms up, put my thumb there, bring my wires around. My words are toward the front of the front of the board. This is the top of my bow. This is the bottom of my bow. So I'm just going to loop that around there. Okay, twist that. This is what works for me. I have watched a lot of bow tutorials, and so it just depends. Once you get to working with these little terry bows, you learn what kind of shortcuts or what things work for you. Okay, so then I cut that tail off. All right, so now I have two loops and two tails for each of the ribbons, with the exception of my very first ribbon, which is my center bow, or my center loop rather. Okay, so then now I untwist this. Take this off. So I'm putting my silver wires like that. So then now this center, I am just going to give that some tugs, and I'm going to twist that a couple of times to really kind of gather that center. That's what makes that gathering in the center. Okay, so I have my green and then I have my silver. Okay, so then I'm going to take this off, and then this is what I have. So see, I built my bow from the side, and then this is what it looks like from the top. So now we're going to fluff it out. This is called a fluff box. You can get it from Pro Bow the Hand as well, or you can make one. There are other people online that have created it out of other stuff. Is this necessary? You need something that will hold your bow so that you can fluff it. So it has a little eye hook, so I put that around there, and then I twist it around this nail just to hold it, to give it some tension while I fluff and make my bow pretty, because this is the way the bow comes out. We built it sideways. This is from the top down. So then now I'm going to fluff it. So I take the bottom ribbon and pull my tails opposite. Then I take the loop and pull that opposite. Bring it this way. Like that. So I have the loops across from each other, and then I have the tails across from each other, and then I have the loops across from each other. So then the next one is this Merry Christmas burlap. So then I have my tails the opposite of that. Then I find my Merry Christmas loops, and I'm just going to pull that like this. Pull that the opposite so that my tails are one way and my loops are another way. So then the next one is this black and white gingham. So I'll pull that like that. Pull my tails. Next I have this black and red buffalo check. So I pull my tails opposite. So what this does, this kind of helps you visualize that you don't have, you want to have like tail loop, tail loop. You kind of want it to be opposite. And you can just play around with it to get the look that you want. This is called fluffing your bow. So if any of my ribbon is bended, then I just unbend it there. Okay, there's that. Okay, then now I'm working on the black and white, not black and white, this burlap and white polka dot. Just gonna position my tails and my loops. Then here I have the center loop. I have one center loop. If you want to have 2 loops, then you don't use that center one where I put my loop around there. But I like that look. So it's just a personal preference. So then I have my tails like that. You always, always, always want to use wired ribbon because you can position your ribbon different ways. So you can just fluff it out like that. Okay, then once you're finished fluffing it, then you want to untwist that, take it off of there, and then there you have your bow. And then it's ready to put on my candy cane. I just want to share the difference in where you put your dowels or your fingers. This bow is larger loops and it is created on row C. This bow, this is the one we just made for the candy cane. This is on row B. So you can see that the loops are a little bit bigger. This one is also using 2 loops. I didn't use the center. I like this center loop right here for personal, I just like that personally. This is what it looks like without the center. You just have the loops. So it just is a personal preference, whatever you are personally looking for.